Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sorry about the bright lights. So I am starting 3 new journals actually, and I thought we would go through the process together. I've been having some fun with them, so I'll show you what they are. I watched Gayle Agostinelli and I had liked what she did with the gluing or collaging different papers on there and making a journal on a piece of paper for the front and the back. I just added this element. I have a lot of this here and I thought that would be kind of nice to have on there. And then also, so they're going to be spring journals. So I have pages, I've set that in there because I want to use that in there. I have pages that I've just painted and we'll go through the process. But I painted them and then I stenciled. This is stenciled with paint. And then, yeah, I just watered down some of my acrylic paint and just painted the pages. I had so much fun with them, and I have a lot of pastels. So I figured I would make journals, or spring journals. This one here is stenciled with purple ink, so pretty. This is stenciled too with, I think it's the twig one. So these are some of my pages that I've selected for in there. And we'll go through and do some painted pages as well. So I have 3 stacks of those. And I also have jelly prints. And so I've been playing a little bit because I'm not going to be able to get it all. It would be a really long series. But I have a bunch of jelly prints that I did. Some of these, I can't remember if some of these were actually, this pattern was, I actually got off the jelly print or if I put them on after. I struggle with jelly prints, but still playing with them. So yeah, it's just this one I did ink and add some stampings. We have some of that mix, and I have more jelly prints, but I just pulled a bunch that I thought would look really good that we could use in the spring journals. So yes, I have a whole stack stamped ones. I did some stamping on ones that I wasn't thrilled with, so I stamped on them. So yeah, so we're gonna be playing with that in the journal. And then I picked this up thrifting, so each journal will get a page of this. And then I've got a variety of scrapbook pages, or scrapbook paper that I have to add in each of the journals. They're white on the back. I'm waiting for a spray that I ordered from Linda Israel. I have been wanting those sprays for a little bit, so I ordered them. I'm just waiting for them to get here so that I can do some stencil spraying on the back of those. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and start with this. So I have my little stack here. I'm just working with some scraps from a album I made for my grandmother who passed before I could give it to her in December. So I have some scraps here that we're going to use. So the first thing, this is just a giant book page, and I've cut it. This is 12 inches by 9. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half just because it is easier for me to work the fold once it's done. No, I didn't get that right. This is from a big book. You could also take a couple of other kinds of pages and cut them and do 9 by 6. That's how Gayle does them. This is a little bit big here. We can always trim that. And she meets it in the middle with Tyvek, and I am actually going to use some Tyvek. I did not grab that. Here it is. Because it is all paper, I want to make sure the center is good and solid, and I've got this great Tyvek envelope at work, so we're going to use some of that to go down the center of the spine. Okay. And I'm actually going to as I glue this, I'm gonna wrap it. So I'll bring this down a little bit. I'm gonna wrap it around. I guess I wouldn't have to wrap it around because I am putting the fabric over the edge. Okay. It is easier to lay it down if we don't have to wrap it. Okay, so, and I'm playing with the video too and see if I can put this on fast forward while I'm doing this, so we can, you don't have to sit there and watch the whole process in slow motion. If I'm unable to, you're more than welcome. Please just turn it on to fast speed. So I'm just using some glue stick, and I'm gonna put some glue on there, stick that down. I love her idea with this, and I love the covers, the way they turned out. They are a harder cover, more solid, but they're thin, which is nice. Okay, so we got that. So we'll do this side. I've been trying to stock up on envelopes. I have an envelope idea I want to use in these journals. I don't think I've seen done before, so I know I haven't seen it. I don't know if anyone's done it. Okay, get that down. And I'll put a link to Gayle's, I'm sure most people that are watching this watch her, but just in case, I'll put her YouTube video down below, or a link to her YouTube's. I'll try to see if I can find the exact video and link it down there. Okay, so now, and that also helps with the center because you don't want a little piece and it'll bow up. So now I'm going to choose what I want. How many of those do I have? This is just a fun, fun paper pack. I really love the colors in this. And it's kind of fun just to kind of get away from the standard, you know, junk journal. I think we're going to do this wider piece here. The standard grungy, which I love, but it's kind of nice to do something different. I had so much fun with those painted pages, and it was quick. So we're just finding some pieces and glue them down. That one. Find another piece for here. Let's see, I'm thinking, is that wide? Not quite wide enough. There we go. And because I want, let's see if I can find my scissors. I want a jagged edge. Sometimes I ink this, sometimes I don't. It just depends on my mood or if it's handy. But I do want a jagged edge, so it's not all straight lines. And I think I will ink this. I just did a little bit of rearranging in my craft room. I do have a small craft room. It's bigger than what I've had. It is still small, and the shape, it's long but narrow. So I have this table that I'm working on, and I have a desk next to me right here on this side, and my sewing machine and my desktop computer was on it. I had no room, and so I've been thinking about what to move, either the sewing machine or the desktop computer, and I finally found a good spot for it out of the room. So since I don't need to use it in the room, considering what I use, so that just opened up a whole bunch of space for me in here, so I'm super excited about that. And I got my machine on a list. It's needs to be repaired. I think it's the back part of it. It may just need oil or a belt. I'm not sure. I've oiled everywhere that I can get to. I can make it work, but I'll try not to use it very much until I can get it in there. Okay, so now that I've got the spine covered here, I might go ahead and flip it over and do this one just to make sure I get good coverage. And I think I'm going to do this piece. What do I want? Nope, that one's thinner. Okay. I just want to make sure I get good big pieces for there, because I'm going to cut some of them up so that we have some smaller pieces. So my last video I did with the yo-yos, because I can only do 30 minutes at a time video, and I have to, these yellows are not patterns, we'll pull those out. Yeah, so I did, I don't really like that with the green. That's not wide enough. Maybe some of this pink. Yeah, I have plenty of that pink. Anyway, I actually, to get that video, I made it seamless. I don't know how I did it, but I figured out how to do it, so I had to stop it, and I just paused at the end of one video for a few seconds, and then I paused at the beginning of the second video, and then started back in, and I was able to, I was pretty excited, I was able to get it so that it seemed like it was all one video, not two. I was pretty excited about that. I didn't edge that one. That's all right. Okay, so we've got that on that side, this on this side. That's not really, that can go either direction, and so can this. I think majority of this paper is not directional. No, you can flip it any which way you want. Okay, so I do want to get some of this on here. I love this paper, so I'm just going to cut it in half. So these journals are going to be kind of a mixed media. I have some other stuff I want to play with besides the painted pages, the jelly print. I am going to be using some digital images, but I think it's going to be like just for the ephemera pieces, because I have some stuff I would like to use that. Let's get away from the green there. I don't know if I want that there though. Let's put a piece of this here. Here we go. Get some of this pink here. Cut that right there. Where's my, there it is. I need to cut the other side too. trying to make sure that these stick down well, but if they don't, I'm going to be sewing this. So I'm not extremely worried about it. I'll be sewing it and then decoupaging on there. Okay, let's see about that. Kind of like the idea of that because then I could put a thin piece there. So we'll cut this edge. Okay, I'll save that till I can get to it. Let's see, let's do this piece over here on this bottom corner. Okay, that so far. I love having the room and to spread out a little bit. I'm kind of a spread out crafter. I like to have my space to spread out, and then if I'm not finished with the project, to be able to leave it out. Okay, this is the only piece I have of that, which I really like, so I may just use that as a filler. We have some pink down there, so we could add some of that here. I'm not caring if I get a ton on the edges here. I just want it to just to have the edges stand out just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that'll be nice. There's that. Now, some of this needs to come over here. looks nice. Use a little bit of this yellow to help fill in, even though it's plain. It's not totally plain. I think I will. There's that. And it's okay if it's not even totally on the edge because we're gonna trim it around. Okay, so I do want I feel like I could do some of that there. Now I definitely could do something with these scraps, and I have plenty more scraps, so I just figured, and I probably will with the matching scraps, but I just thought they would be a really pretty spring cover. Okay, so we've got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more of this yellow down that side. actually going to cut this to be kind of the shape I need, hopefully. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Okay, there's that side. Now we're going to do this side. Okay, so I think I want to put some of Hi everyone. Okay, so this video is in a couple of parts and you won't notice if I'm able to do the fast forward. So I did all the sewing on the cover. My machine needs to get in, but it's a 2-month wait and I'm on the list, so I don't know how much more sewing I'll be able to do until it's... The biggest problem I'm having is winding bobbins right now, but I have some other bobbins that have other colors, so we just might have multicolor, like a color on the bottom, color on top for any future sewing within the next couple of months. So now that it's all sewed, we've collaged and everything, I'm just going to be putting some Mod Podge on. Same technique from Gayle Agostinelli. And it's really stiff when you do this, and before you put the Mod Podge on, it's a really thick. It's thin, but it's hard, and but once the Mod Podge is on and dries, it's more pliable. I have noticed that with the one cover I did that I did on a thinner paper, it kind of cracked in my seams, so we'll obviously be putting fabric in the spine and or cover. I'm going to do that for all of them just to keep it cohesive and keep it, you know, strengthen the spine, but definitely there's a difference as opposed to the way I did this one. This will be, I'll have 2 journals made with the paper base that I used from a book, a large book that I have. Okay, and the Mod Podge dries fairly quickly. I mean, quickly enough that you could let it sit for a minute and then flip it over and do the other side. And then I usually just let it sit for approximately 24 hours till the next day. I'll do this one day, and then when I get home from work the next day, I just come in after both sides are I've Mod Podged and start adding the trim, which will be the next thing. So this video is actually going to be filmed over a few days. So I'm doing it during the week after work. I think it's worth the process, though. It's an interesting, different way to make cover, especially if you don't have fabric, but you might have papers and book pages. And I'm sure you don't have to sew. You could just Mod Podge without the sewing. I think the sewing gives it texture and just it'll definitely make sure a lot of these stay down. And then that will just take a minute to dry, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side. Sometimes the papers come up, so I just get a little bit of Mod Podge in there in the corners and just kind of poke it down. This all seems to be down pretty good though. Okay, get that a minute to dry. And I think I'm going to do cream around this edge as well. I'm going to kind of clean up my page here so nothing sticks. I found this, somebody was going to throw this brown, I think it's baking paper, roll away, and I'm like, oh, I can use that. So I've made some brown bags for it for some ephemera. See, it's already starting to dry in some areas. Either that or that might be a spot I missed. If you shine it in the light, you can tell where the Mod Podge, as it's drying, where it hit, where you got, where it's at, because it's a little bit shiny. And then if you missed any spots, you'd be able to tell. Okay. All right, I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then I'll be back to do the other side. Okay, the other side is dry enough to do the back, so go ahead and get that done. while I was waiting for it to dry, I went ahead and picked, I have a whole bunch of ephemera that I've made, so a lot. I was doing mass makes and I went a little crazy on my mass makes, so I have made a few pieces for the spring journals, but I don't know. I think I may have picked out enough. I know there's at least one piece I need to make. I might need to make more, or want to make more. From what Gayle said, this just seals the paper and the stitches. But I tell you, I bought these foam brushes for decoupaging and stuff, but this thread, they were super cheap, so probably if I buy better quality, they'll hold up, but it definitely chews through them with the thread. I need to pick out what I want to put on the front here, and I'm thinking I will probably print some spring images to put in here to make, there's a part that's poking up, so we'll just get that down. But yeah, and then make a kind of like a placard or a cover piece to go on the cover, the front cover. Okay. All right, so the next step is to get the trim on, and I'll show you what I do. I won't show you the sewing on camera, but I will show you how I get it so that I can take it to the machine and sew it. I'm just going to make sure I got everywhere. Not up here. Okay, that looks like I got everything. So we'll let this dry, and then we will come back and add the trim. Okay, so this is all dry, and I have slowly formed it. I let it dry all the way before I started forming it. If you start forming it and folding it on the crease that you had already made before doing this, then if you just let it dry just a little bit so that when you touch it, it feels dry, you can start bending it a little easier. I waited a little long, so it just took me a little bit to get it into shape. And I have prepped my edging. So this is just, I always forget the name whenever I need to say it. It is bias tape. I have a bunch of this. I picked it up at a yard sale actually a couple years ago. Been slowly working through it, but I still have a couple of drawers. Also the lace that comes with this too. So I think I want to start here. I chose this as my front. So that's what you'll want to do. You'll want to decide which is your front so you know which way to fold it. And it will work itself out. It will lay flatter. Just gonna clip some of these strings here because this is a thinner tape than what I put on the other ones as far as width-wise. So I just don't want these strings to get in the way here of that bias tape, these threads, because they're stiff now. I need to get myself some new scissors. These work fine. It's just my thumb I complain about a lot. I have trigger thumb, but I've had it for so long it doesn't hurt anymore, but I've lost mobility in my thumb, so I can't actually get the scissors off my hand unless you know how you would normally, because your thumb bends. I have to use my left hand to get them off my hand. So I want to get those kind that you don't have to stick your fingers through. You just squeeze them. That'll be the next thing. Okay, I think that's probably good. Oh, let's hear it gets this one. Unless I shake them off. I could shake the scissors off sometime. Okay. So how I got this on is I know I want this for my front cover. Yeah, this for my front cover. So I'm going towards the back side because that's where I want the seam to be, and I'm going to do it on the bottom. So I tried a few different ways to attach this, and I have found so I could sew it on. The best, you can just glue this too. But the best way for me anyways is Fabri-Tac. I have those clips, but I struggled with the sewing and messing with those clips and this thing wanting to slide off of this, so I'm super excited to start this journal. My sprays will be here next week. Oh, here's some strings right here. That's a little lumpy bumpy. Okay, that's better. Okay. Now, back to my front. So, go ahead and get this glue down. And I just do a little bit at a time, that is if I can. I don't usually have a problem with this. Okay. And you don't need to put it everywhere, you just need to have enough to hold it in place while you're sewing. Over the back and get that tacked down. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to put corners. I think the corners that I have, the fabric that I put around the edge would be too thick for it, so okay, so for the corner, I go ahead and bring it down. And I'm just going to line it up with that edge and fold it over so that you have kind of like a mitered corner. I'll stick a little bit of this glue in here. You should already have a fold to know where to put that little dollop of glue. Fabri-Tac. Now I'll glue that corner down. Come back on the other side and make sure it's kind of even or parallel with that. And then just bring this down. And then that will give a little fold. A little bit of glue in there. Come on, glue. It's enough to hold it down. And I'm gonna start tacking again. That'll help hold that corner down as well. Now with the other two corners, I just did the normal standard setting when I turn on my sewing machine. For the zigzag, I'm gonna have to play with the machine a little bit to find out what size for this. I only have a couple of sizes of zigzags I use regularly, so. Okay. Get this tacked down. Try to hide those threads. Okay. Now, do the same thing over here. Going to bring this parallel with the edge of the cover. Just kind of fold on that and you'll get a little fold to add some glue. Get that mitered corner. I'm going to go ahead and tack this here so it'll help hold that while I do the other side. I looked everywhere. It's been a while since I've done a mitered corner, so I was looking everywhere, get familiar with the mitered corner, and this is too stiff to do the way I want to do it, so we're going to do it this way. There we go. Okay, we got that corner. And then we'll go ahead and tack the rest of this down. On this side. Flip it over into this side. Okay, another mitered corner. just going to tack this down. And then do that again. We're just going to make sure that edge is parallel and just bring that over so that you have a fold. Hold that in place. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and tack this side. And then do the other side. All right, and our last mitered corner. Bring it all the way to the edge of the book right there, and then just fold that corner over, and you'll get a little fold. Other side now. Again, fold that to the edge. Push that down. Finger crease. And now, oops, get that down there a little bit better. Now we'll go ahead and tack that. Okay, so I did cut this with a little bit of extra overlap, and I am not going to worry about tacking that down, but I am going to cut this down a little bit so it's not too bulky there. So let's see, I probably cut it right. That looks good. And then I should be able just to stitch right over that. So, okay, I'm gonna get this stitched, and then I will bring this back, and that'll be our cover. Okay, I got it all stitched. Kind of close. Okay, so it's all stitched. I did a 1.6 stitch length, and then I moved the needle to 2. I did do a back stitch. It didn't fight me as hard as it has been, but this, I'm going to be doing limited sewing after finishing this until my machine can get in and get serviced. Okay, so there's our cover. Cute. It's got a nice cloth edging. So the next thing we're going to do, our next project, will be to make It'll either be to make the cover for this, or we'll be playing with painted pages. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.